Hey everyone, it's UnsungNPC back finally with a guide video for this game. I have been waiting and waiting and waiting. I know a lot of people have been putting out guide videos for all of the beta stuff, and I just didn't want to do that. I prefer to do the videos on the game when it's like actually out and we know what everything is going to be. So like even if there is bugs in the game, there's still like the skills still do what they're supposed to, like in theory, right? So now we know how everything's supposed to go, we can talk about what the skills do. It does give you a lot of good tips on what the skills do when you hover over them, and I feel like that's one of the best ways to really find out what they can do. But we're also going to talk about just the frequency of the use of these skills, and like which ones are more important, which ones are less important, because I think that's always good to know, especially when building your character for your main character, because obviously a lot of people like to do main characters with the skills that they're going to need all the time. That way you have that done and you don't have to worry about having specific party members in your party. So let's get into it. And before we start, I want to say there's a lot of YouTube channels. There's a few slightly bigger than mine, some even smaller than mine. A lot of YouTube channels out there that are around this kind of like smaller size that I am, that are doing a lot of these guide videos, and some might even do skill videos. So if you've already watched those, this is not me stealing an idea. No one is stealing anyone's idea. A skill guide video is an obvious step in the creation of guide videos for this game or any RPG, okay? So just throwing that out there. There's a lot of stuff being made for this game, so it's out there. Okay. First, we're gonna start out with our two kind of physical skills here. So we're gonna start out with athletics first. Athletics is pretty much only used to, you know, like moving objects, climbing, jumping, things like that in the game. This is very prevalent in the siege of the first major fort that you go to. There's a lot of different athletic checks all around the battlements that can be useful. It's a very, very useful skill. Having at least one person, probably only one person really, in your group that can do this is a good call. If you have an animal companion in your group, chances are they can take care of the skill for you if they are a more strength-based animal companion. So you don't have to worry about that too much. I personally, we have a horse in our group who takes care of the athletics for us with a plus 18 when we take the armor off. So the horse has got it. We don't have to worry about it. Not much to worry about there. It's a pretty basic skill used for pretty obvious athletic things. I haven't seen anything special that the athletic does, unless of course you are the trickster path, but we'll get into that in a different video. So this is what athletics does. Okay. The next one is mobility. Another one we like to leave to our horse sometimes, but we've also got a couple people with mobility in general as well. So mobility is your, squeezing through tight spots, okay, climbing and jumping over a wall, moving past opponents without provoking attack of opportunities. Every character has like a little thing that you can toggle on and off, that it's like combat mobility type stuff where you can toggle it on, roll your mobility checks to move past enemies, and then not get hit with an attack of opportunity. That's this thing available to every character, whether or not you have mobility. It's just a thing that everyone can do, but you still roll a mobility skill to do it. So if you don't have mobility, don't bother with it. So that's there. Very useful in the siege on the fort as well. I'm not too far into the game yet, so I can't tell you what other stuff coming up the skills is going to be involved in. But I can tell you that so far, athletics and mobility are both pretty prevalent through the game. So having someone that can cover each of these is solid for your party. You're gonna need them. They're everywhere, and it's just it's fun to do the little skill things, you know? You gotta have it. Gotta have it. Okay. Next, we're gonna talk about persuasion. Okay, persuasion. Persuasion is gonna be one of the more useful skills in this game. I don't think, in my experience so far, there hasn't been as much diplomacy usage, persuading people in conversation, as much as there was in Kingmaker, but I'm also only up to a certain point of the game. Like, I just finished Act 2, I don't really know what else comes up. I imagine persuasion is still very, very, very prevalent throughout the game, just like it was in Kingmaker, so you should definitely have someone with persuasion 100%. On top of that, there are plenty of different things you can do with persuasion. For demoralizing enemies in combat, if you make a dazzling display tank character, they can use persuasion to intimidate. Okay, there's lots of different other uses for persuasion. And if you're worried about not having charisma for it, there's always other companions that can take persuasion for you. Although it's good to have it on your main character, to be honest, in case you run into any checks where your companions are not present. But there is some backgrounds that kind of change how persuasion works, if you want to look into that. So persuasion is a great skill. You need it. Have it, please. Very, very, very important. Okay. Probably the most important skill in the game, in any RPG, really, is perception. Alright, perception is huge. Perception lets you find all of the hidden doors, hidden chests, hidden traps, hidden loots, all of the hidden things. There's lots of skill checks and conversations for perception as well, to let you see what a person is hiding when they talk to you as well, which is very, very neat. Very, very fun when that happened. It's already happened like 4 or 5 times up to the finish of Act 2. Perception checks are everywhere. Everywhere. And not having them will really screw you over, okay? Not having perception means that you can get blown up by a trap. Not having perception means that you just missed out on some dope loot because you didn't find it. Okay, perception is key. You need it. You need it to be successful. You need to have, honestly, at least half of your party members should have perception. So far, we've only got 2 in my party, maybe 3. We've got 3, right? 3 with perception. You need at least 3. If you don't have at least 3, it's not going to be good for you. Not going to be a good time. You need a lot because they can still fail checks. And you want to make sure that you have backups that can attempt those same checks so you don't miss stuff and you don't get hit by traps. Getting hit by traps is literally the worst. Have perception. Next is Knowledge Arcana. As you can see, my Knowledge Arcana is stacked. Knowledge Arcana is pretty much important for the identifying magical items. As long as you have Knowledge Arcana trained, it's trained only. The Knowledge and Lores and Use Magic Device are trained only, meaning that you can't use those skills unless you have a rank in them at least. Same with Trickery. Yeah, same with Trickery. So you need to put a rank in it to get the training. But it's very useful for identifying magical items. You need it to learn spells and scrolls for your spell book if you have a wizard spell book or any book that you write spells into. It also helps with scroll scribing during camping. And I will show you guys the camp menu and kind of the things that go along with it here at the end. But it's important for camping as well, actually, which wasn't in Kingmaker. Wasn't a thing in Kingmaker, but now it is. So you should have that. You want to have that down, all right? Very, very important skill. Not nearly as important as persuasion and perception. Not nearly as prevalent as athletics and mobility, but still pretty throughout the game. There's a lot of magical stuff going on in this game, a lot of knowledges and lore checks compared to Kingmaker, especially in my opinion. So it's good to have these skills. I really don't think you need more than one person with this skill or any of the knowledge and lore skills. I think if you have one person covering them, you're fine. But it's always nice to have a backup just in case you fail a check or something. Next is Knowledge World. Okay, Knowledge World is another knowledge and conversation check, and things like that. You get to brew potions during camping as well. Brew potions. You get to recall knowledge about geography, history, locals, nobility, things like that, and you decipher writing. So for the knowledges and lore checks, there's lots of different points as you're traveling around where you can do a check to read something or know the context of something. And that's when these skills really come into handy, because not only is that nice XP for you, it also helps with the lore and the world building and making you feel more a part of the world. And I think that's a very important thing. Next, we have Lord Nature. Lord Nature is used in conversations as well. Gives you the ability to cure a disease, which is just a nice thing to have. There are so many diseases in this game. Nature checks are important. People always have been saying, I've seen people in their playthroughs, okay, they're talking about how nature is not nearly as important as the other lores and nature checks, and they are wrong. It's just as important, okay? You can cure diseases. You delay fatigue while traveling on the world map. Delaying fatigue is so important so you can travel further within less time. You need to be able to do this, okay? It's just a very, very good skill to have. Very, very good skill to have. We don't do hunting in this one, like we did before. So you don't use nature to hunt, like they have. At least not when I've camped. We'll take a look at the camping menu to confirm that, but so far I haven't used nature to hunt. So I don't know. Maybe I have. Maybe I have and I'm lying. Who knows? Who could say? Maybe I'm a dirty liar. All right, lore religion. Out of the knowledges, to be honest, probably the most important knowledge and lore skill in this game right now. Okay? Divine spell scroll scribing during camping. Okay, for divine spells. You also recall knowledge and conversation. And you push back corruption during camping. Okay, when you camp, you can put people in with their religious checks, and they can push back the corruption that's spreading throughout the world wound. Very, very, very important. And also the amount of like religion checks in conversation and like religion checks throughout the maps is just insane. There's so many religion checks. Religion is such a big thing in this game because this is all of the planes mixing, and planar stuff is also technically under religion knowledge a lot of the time. It gets split between knowledge, religion, and arcana. So this is a very, very, very important skill, probably the most important one out of the knowledges and lore. Next we have stealth, okay? Stealth is pretty much for sneaking. It's for stealth. It's also used in camping when trying to hide your encampment from enemy sights. It can be used sometimes used in conversation, depending on the conversation. Like if sometimes it'll prompt up a sneak check for you to do, so that you can get a jump on the enemy that you run into. It also helps avoid random counters on the global map as you're traveling. So you've got nature to last longer while traveling, and stealth to avoid encounters. So very, very good skills, stealth. We have some good people with stealth in my party. It's always good to have at least one. Whoever your trap person is, whoever your trickery person is, should definitely have stealth. You want to make sure that you can get to those trap disarm spots effectively. Next, speaking of, we have trickery. Okay, trickery disarms traps or devices and opens locks, doors, and chests. That's what trickery does. It's very rare that it's in a conversation, but it might be at some point. But that's pretty much what it does. It unlocks everything, disarms everything. You have to have someone with trickery in your party. I don't really think you need more than one, especially with like the lock picks being added into the game. But you need at least one. We're rolling with 2. We won't be rolling with 2 for very long. But we are rolling with 2 for now. But you need at least 1, for sure. I think you just probably only need 1, but you need at least 1 to unlock everything for you, disarm all those pesky traps. Gotta get it. And then last is use magic device. Use magic device allows you to use wands and scrolls that you would normally be unable to use. It's trained only, so you have to put ranks in it to be able to do it. But if it's a scroller or wand that's a spell that you can already learn and use, then you don't have to roll use magic device. You only have to roll if it's a spell that you can't possibly learn or use normally in your own spell casting. It's kind of useful. It's just like, I don't really ever feel like I have to have anyone doing that. We have a scroll savant character, not in my party, but she exists, who can read anything pretty much. And she uses use magic device for other scrolls that she can't learn. I don't really have anyone else that needs it, to be honest. There's just not a lot of use out of it, really. Especially with like the mythic feats that you can take for abundant casting and getting more and more spells. You just don't need to use the scrolls. I sell most of them. The only scrolls I keep are healing scrolls, what are they called? Jeez. Restoration scrolls, lesser restoration, buffs like Good Hope, Blur, stuff like that. Those are the only scrolls that I really ever keep. Anything else, haste scrolls are great, but anything else I throw away or sell or whatever. Like, use magic device, yeah, meh. Probably the least valuable skill in this thing, probably, in my opinion. Very, very niche situation. So that's kind of your skills. We've gone over your skills, right? Now we're gonna go over camping. I'll show you guys what camping looks like here. So your camping will have the DC of the check. The DC of these checks is gonna change. The Night Watch, Camouflage, and Protective Rituals are gonna change based on where you're located. Okay? It can be sometimes way higher, sometimes way lower, just depends on where you are. And then Alchemy and Scroll Scribing are going to change based on the item that you're trying to craft. Those DCs will have their own. And so as you can see, here is the Abyssal Corruption. This is what Protective Rituals does. Protective Charms and Rituals will weaken the growth of corruption, but they will not be able to fully negate it. So like, if we rest, we could gain Abyssal Corruption, but the Protective Rituals will stop us from having to do that. Camouflage is stealthing your camp. Night Watch is perception checks. Okay, so this is religion. Camouflage is stealth. Night Watch is perception. You have two sets of people for the first 4 hours and for the second 4 hours, night watching. Okay, in the event of an attack on the camp, the sentries will raise the alarm so that you're not surprised. You'll have an alchemy person that does your potion and your food. So you can choose your potion to craft. You have to have the brew potions feat to be able to brew potions. And then eventually you can get mythic brew potions as well. And you can manage and go in here and pick a potion if you have the ingredients. And then you can choose a food. Anyone with knowledge world can choose a food, no problem. As long as you have the recipes, which there are plenty. There's also lots of ingredients, so make sure that you're saving and picking up all of those ingredients as you pass around the world, because the ingredients are nice to have so that you can cook all the different things. And it will tell you if it's anyone's favorite dish over here, which is pretty easy to pay attention to. Very cool. And it also tells you your chance of success, right? So now you've got these two things being made here, which is awesome. Cool. And then Scroll Scribing uses Knowledge Arcana. And then the Scroll Scriber's kit. As long as you have a kit, then you're good. You also need a Brew Potions kit. Don't forget that. You need a Brew Potions kit. So you can put your dude in here. I don't have the feat scribe scrolls, which you also do need. Okay, so you need scribe scrolls or brew potions depending on what you're trying to do. I don't have scribe scrolls. I just brew potions, but you need that to craft scrolls. I'd say potions and cooking are more important in my opinion because you can get the healing potions. The scrolls are nice. The level 2 ones are nice. I don't really use any of the level 1 ones. I haven't seen level 3 stuff yet either because I only have a level 2 kit. So the feats for brew potions and scribe scrolls allows you to go through levels 1 through 3 of those creations, and you still have to buy the kit for each level. It's a level 1 kit, level 2 kit, level 3 kit for each thing, and then mythic brew potions will take you further. I don't know how scribe scrolls works exactly, but I know there's way higher level kits, so eventually I imagine you'll be able to gain more and more stuff that you can craft there. But this is what camping looks like. No hunting, it seems like. So that is, you can also click the auto assign button if you want. You can use the rest for the recommended period, but you can do it higher if you want to. If you want to rest more. Use healing spells and abilities before resting. Always have that checked. Just always have that checked. But that's camping, and those are your skills. Pretty useful all around, except for maybe use magic device. Perception is the most important. Athletics and mobility are very, very common. Trickery is everywhere. So always have trickery on you. The knowledges are great for all the XP and the lore. Lore religions, but the most important one out of all of those, in my opinion. Stealth is always nice to have, and so is nature for traveling around the world map. So everything is useful, everything is important, as long as you have your party build up set to where it's beneficial for you in that way, you'll be golden. But these are the skills, this is camping. I hope this video was super helpful and clear to you. If you have any questions about any of these skills or anything about the game in general, I will do my best to answer. But if you really want good information, feel free to join our Discord in the link in the description. There's an invite link in there, just join. Come chat with us. There's a bunch of us in there right now. We talk about this game all the time. We try to remain spoiler free if we can, but there's a lot of really, really knowledgeable and helpful people who have just put in hours into the beta who can totally help you. So feel free to come join us and talk to us. I would love to have you there. And just a reminder that I am streaming on, right now I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays and Sundays. I have the schedule posted on my YouTube description, so you can go check that out. I have a graphic in the works being made for that, so you can check that out. But it's gonna be awesome. So feel free to come by, check out the stream, come hang out, say hey. Would love to have you. If you like this video, if you like my stuff, subscribe, like the video. I super appreciate your support, and even just you viewing this video is enough for me, so thank you so much. Yeah, anyway, I'm UnsungNPC. I hope this video was helpful, and I will catch you guys in the next one.